Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So I have created a simple basic data flow diagram on architecture for APIs, how it worked. Last week when I was explaining how an API works, I couldn't put you in a graphic way so that it will be easy for us to understand. So API is application programming interface, right? Before we move on to the WhatsApp API, I'll teach you on the UPI payment processing API, which I covered for Vignesh yesterday. I'll just walk you through again on this. So when a customer, like you try to initiate a fund transfer, it through an UPI app like Google Pay or something. So once you initiate a transaction, a API calling goes to the merchant app. So it could be like a person-to-person transaction or a person-to-a merchant transaction. So API goes to the merchant app or the merchant website, and then API go to the payment gateway, and all the transaction, whether it is a card payment or if it is an account transaction or a UPI wallet transactions or any transaction that happens in India, it has to hit the UPI switch of NPCI. NPCI is the National Payment Corporation of India, which is the RBI, the centralized body of India, right? So RBI governs all the payments, the banking and payments. So then from the payment gateway, it goes to the UPI switch, and from the UPI switch, it goes to the respective customer bank, who is the issuer, and then a response go to the acquirer. Okay. So how it generally works is, how RBI works is, every day all the bank in India will have a account with RBI, which is called a settlement account, okay, which they name it as a treasury. So they will have a dedicated app called treasury in order to make the settlement between the bank and the RBI. So for example, if you hold an account in HDFC and you are making a fund transfer to SBI bank, so from HDFC bank, it doesn't directly go to the SBI bank immediately. So what happens is, from HDFC bank, when you initiate a transaction, it goes to RBI. Okay. So there are different types of payments, right? You have IMPS payment, which is immediate payment, and then you have NEFT, which is a batch payment. Batch happens every 30 minutes once, and then you have RTGS, real-time gross settlement payments. So RTGS happens real time, but the maximum, the minimum transaction value should be more than 2 lakhs in RTGS. Okay. And then, IMPS, NEFT, RTGS, and UPI. These are the 4 types of transaction that we have in India, which is governed by RBI. So any transaction, any mode of transaction you choose and you try to make a transfer, it goes to the RBI switch. Okay, then the settlement happens from the NPCI to the respective banks. So what happens is, from the HDFC Treasury, it goes to the NPCI, okay, and it gets a response. It checks the customer information. There is a centralized platform with all the bank accounts detail and datas, or kept it over there, even including the card information of a customer, everything is kept there. So once the API goes and calls with that NPCI database, the database finds it is a right customer. Yes, the customer is having sufficient funds to do the transaction, or if the customer is trying to transfer the funds, so it will check whether there is beneficiary's account is a right account, and then the funds can be transferred to that account. If in case it is a fraudulent account or anything, it does a filter over there. It is done by the centralized party, that is NPCI. Okay. So then you get a confirmation, you get an acknowledgement and confirmation, your amount has been debited. Okay, and the settlement happens to the bank again between the RBI, that is NPCI, and the beneficiary bank in a batch basis. This is not only applicable for the funds transaction, it is also applicable even if you do any kind of e-commerce transaction on online platform, or even when you try to swipe a card, that is called as POS transaction, point of sale transaction. And then even it happens in any kind of UPI transactions, that is a wallet transactions, and anything you do, it all the API goes only through the NPCI switch, and then only it gets settled to the beneficiary bank. It happens vice versa. Even the ATM transaction that you do, there are three types of ATM transaction. Like you hold an HDFC card. If you try to take a money from HDFC ATM, then it is called at the back end, in the technical term, it is called honest. Honest is the HDFC card is swiped on HDFC ATM. Okay, and when you have an HDFC card, you are trying to take it from a non-HDFC bank, that could be any Bank of India, SBI, or any some XY bank, then it is called as remote honors. Okay, sorry, it is called as office for HDFC. And then if some other card tries to take money from HDFC bank, for HDFC bank it will be a remote honors. It's a technical term. I'm just telling it in a very eagle view. You don't have to get into so detail, because if in case you're going to work on the banking and payment, this is all very significant stuff for you to know. So then all these settlement happens on the end of the day. They call this like end of the day. Even though you get a confirmation your amount has been debited, the beneficiary account is credited, all the settlement happens. It looks like a person to person the settlement has happened, but actually between a bank and a bank, the settlement doesn't happen on the same time. The settlement happens only on the end of the day. So end of the day, what happens is, for example, after 10 p.m. or so, RBI says this much amount HDFC has to settle to RBI. Okay, and it also says to the different bank, this much account HDFC has given you, which means like it says to SBI, SBI users have used HDFC ATM or HDFC POS machine or HDFC so and so cards or something. So you have to give a settlement to this bank, this much amount. So the settlement all happens at the end of the day. And only after that settlement happens from this treasury, HDFC treasury, the funds gets moved to RBI treasury, and from other banks, similarly, the same workflow happens. Only if everything, the settlement is getting completed for the day, then the date change will happen for the next day. So during the date change, what the bank will do is they will just set the, in the banking side, they will do a date change and the interest percentage change for your FD, fixed deposit, term deposit, or recurring deposit, or senior citizens deposits will be there separately, or any government owned deposits, your EPRAN, and so many. There are a lot of saving schemes that is available in India. So for everything, the rate of interest, even your housing loan, your mortgage loan, your car loan, on all other loans, rate of interest will be floating. There is no standard interest rate now. RBI has got a floating interest for all the bank, and that will be done once in quarter. Once in 3 months, the bank will just go and check with RBI what is the current interest they have to maintain, and they will automatically change it to the as per RBI rules. So that is what the rule has come now. So this all settlement happens only through one centralized body, that is called this NPCI. Okay, that is NPCI is RBI, Reserve Bank of India, owned switch. So all the payment, any payment, even if you go to a tea shop, you scan their QR code, you transfer 10 rupees money, that 10 rupees money also goes and hits the UPI switch, that is NPCI switch, and then only the transaction happens. So each and every transaction that happens is gone through the centralized switch, the RBI switch, that is called NPCI switch. Okay, so that is how the payment flow workflow happens. And here, as I said, like the customer initiate the UPI payment via the UPI app, send us a request sent to the merchant app or website. The payment gateway validates it. This payment gateway is managed by NPCI. The payment gateway validates this and forward the request. Then NPCI UPS switch routes the request to the customer bank. The customer bank authenticates the PIN. and the funds debited and credited to the merchant bank. The success or failure response sent back to the customer. This is the workflow. Okay, I think this is the same thing I have given over here also as a um, waterfall model, which is like customer UPI app, merchant app or website, payment gateway, UPI switch, customer bank, and merchant bank. This is the main thing. So here for each and every like merchant app or website or payment gateway, for each and every terminology, whatever given here, you will have application server. If in case a website, then you will have a website hosted server, or if it is an application, then you will have application a server. Then you will have a database to it, and then from database again a request comes into the application or website server, and then it goes to the Nginx. I forgot to mention the Nginx, and from the Nginx, the response go to the user or the respective server. So here, if it is merchant app, as I said, there will be 4 blocks here. From there, the response goes to the payment gateway. Payment gateway, again, it will have an Nginx server. Again, it will have a load balancer. Then it goes to the application server. From application server, payment database. Again, the response comes back to the same thing. And it goes to the payment UPI NPCI switch. Even the NPCI switch will have an Nginx server, load balancer. Then it will have an application server and application database. It does all the validation, then goes to the customer bank. In customer bank also, again, the same setup. You have Nginx, which is a load balancer, reverse proxy, and then it goes to the application server, and then it hits the database. Database responds it, and then again it goes to the merchant bank, same flow steps. So the basic workflow is that it is like Nginx server, it is a firewall, then it is going to be a HTTP server if it is a website server, and or an application server if it is an app server, and then it goes to the database. The same setup is there everywhere. Okay, so and how the UPI payment flows is a payment is initiated and the gateway validation is done. NPCI routes the payment. By once it checks it, it routes the payment. Then the bank authentication UPI pin happens, then the debit or credit, whatever it is, it happens, and the acknowledgement, the success or failure acknowledgement is sent to the user. Okay, so why NPCI comes in here is NPCI is a centralized body. It has got all the customer information through we enabling Aadhaar to it, right? Aadhaar is managed by the central government. It is a government like a social security number given to us. So from Aadhaar, what happens is the eKYC, whatever you do, that gets automatically updated with NPCI. So any payment, any transaction you do through the Aadhaar number, everything will get recorded over here through the eKYC happening process. So that's why the banking and payment is completely united, so that even if in case there isn't payment disputes happening, like you try to withdraw cash in ATM says your amount has been credited, but ATM doesn't give you a cash back, but your account says your amount has been already debited, then you raise a complaint. They say like 72 hours, give us 72 hours to investigate on that. Then what happens is the service desk team who picked up your call initiate a internal ticket with their technical team. Technical team is like, for example, payment team. Then they initiate ticket with NPCI. They see where exactly the issue is. Then NPCI checks whether the problem is whether they have received that API or not. Even if NPCI has received the API and it has sent already to the beneficiary bank, and if that somewhere there is a break in the data flow, it will be easily captured, and that details will be sent back to the bank, and then bank responds to us, yes, it is a problem from our side or it is a problem from the merchant side. If it is a problem with the merchant side, the reversal may take 5 to 7 business working days as per their clause. Or if it is only in their gateway itself before even it hits the NPCI, then immediately the reversal will happen on the same day. So that's how the process is there in the both banking and payment side. Guys, am I going fast? I know
No,
it
no.
has to be Greek and Latin, but this is only a general knowledge for you, because you should, being in India, using the payment and banking gateway, you should know how the payment is getting processed in the back end. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt in this? I did not take banking payment. I just took only the UPI. There are a lot of UPI that's been initiated by our RBI. You will see, uh, I forgot that application, UPHI, BHS, and some um, uh, like Google Pay. They initiated some payment gateway apps also, where you, when you try to make some payments over there through wallet payment, you get some refunds. Like Paytm and Google Pay, you had, they initiated a lot of RuPay cards. They initiated, so whatever, because earlier bank was holding all the customer data. They did not expose it to NPCI. Just to centralize all these things, they brought a lot of plans and logics just to get your information. Like, and then they mandated Aadhaar. If did not enroll Aadhaar to your EB account, to your even the gas, the LPG, and even whatever you purchase, mortgage, let it be house or vehicles or whatever you buy, everything will require your PAN and Aadhaar. So because they have centralized it, they have synced it up. So then just through, by having your Aadhaar card and PAN card number, the NPCI, that is RBI, will know what kind of transaction you have made, how much debts you have, how much interest you are getting, how much FD you had made. Everything is centralized now. So it's like an open book now for them, so that they have a lot of hands-on in whatever the payments that we make, or whatever the buyings. Even if you purchase a lot of things from Amazon, they will know that you are spending this much amount in bill desk, which is called as like a e-commerce websites. So bill desk is a terminology that we called in the back end whenever a transaction is happening through e-commerce, any site, any kind of websites. So there is POS, which is like point of sale, which is a card swiped on a machine. That is a POS, we used to say. And anything that you try to make a transaction through online, that is called bill desk for e-commerce. And um, any wallet payments, so you scan a QR code and you make a payment. So that is a wallet payment that you have. You will save some amount in the wallet and you will try to spend it. Or UPI payment, which is like you scan a QR code and you can send your money. These are the types of payment that we have in India. But in other countries, like I had handled payment for, just give me 1 minute, sorry. Sorry guys, I'm back. There was some person standing at the entrance. Yeah. Where did I stop? I'm sorry. I feel bad in recollecting. Somebody has to tell me where did I stop. Types of payments I completed. What else? Am I audible?
About the banking methods, ma'am, like
Sorry, about what?
about banking methods, I guess.
Banking methods, payment, yes, I explained.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I was talking about the other country payments, right?
Yes, ma'am. And then you started talking about this.
So these are the payments available in India, but in other countries, we do not have this much of types of payments. And the payments that happens, the international payments that happens, right? For example, you go to US, you swipe your international card given in HDFC, and that comes in as a Swift message to our bank. Okay. And then you have this transaction amount and then the conversion charges of that US dollars. And then one time swipe, etc., the service charges, hidden charges, or other charges comes in. So they have only two types of transaction in other countries. It is not like IMPS, wallet, NEFT, RTGS, no. It will be like whether it is a domestic transaction, it is an international transaction. And what is the Swift message being done? And another mode is a reversal. It's very, very, very clear. Like I had handled for almost 15 countries. So in all those 15 countries, like multiple countries in Africa, Australia, US, and UK. So everywhere it is only this terminology. It is either debit, credit, or reversal. Very simple. But in India, we have a lot of types of payments like NEFT, IMPS, RTGS, limitation for a value for a payment and other stuff. So if you're handling foreign bank, the payment is very, very simple. Debit, credit, reversal, that's all. Okay, so that's on the payment and banking side. Now we will try to relate this. Okay. Now I'll try to relate this with our WhatsApp API. Okay, how our WhatsApp works. Just give me 1 minute. Just put it to the cloud as well. Okay, okay. I'm again sorry. Got some people working here. Yes. So we will try to connect the data flow diagram, whatever we had for the payments gateway, similar gateway, the workflow diagram, we will try to incorporate for how our WhatsApp works. Okay. So we here are the user. Okay. So it says an API gateway is a single entry point that sits between the client, that is the application users, app users, website users. You have only two types of users, right? Either you should be an user from app or you should be an user from website. We don't have any other mode of requesting anything on the API. Okay, your API comes in only through two channels, that is application and from website. That's all. So and your backend services, that is API, and manages how requests comes in and the responses goes out. So earlier I have spoken, when a request comes in, and even the UPI which we saw, right? The UPI transaction, how much time does it takes for you to give a response? Like when you scan a QR code and make a transaction, how much time it gives you to give a response, your payment is being done? Any idea? When you try to scan a QR code, make a payment, all these payment API happens, and what is the time it takes? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are. So you have done a payment, right? Through QR code or something. How much time does it take?
It's quick, ma'am. Doesn't take a lot of time.
Sorry?
It's quick, ma'am. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Quick in sense how much? Just estimate, give an estimation time. A minute or less than a minute. If it is less than a minute, how many
Just
seconds?
to scan the QR code or just to pay?
Once you scan the QR code, from the time, how much minutes or seconds it takes for you to get a response, your payment has been done.
Probably like 20 to 30 seconds, ma'am.
seriously, it takes 20 seconds. Okay, then it should be a problem with the internet. So generally, it should be only less than 9 seconds. All your transaction, the time you try to scan your QR code and make a payment, all this API calling should get completed, including the PIN validation, should get completed within 9 seconds. So once you validate the PIN, once you enter the PIN, Once it says the pin is a right pin, then all this API from your account goes to the RBI, from that merchant confirms it, and then a response comes back to you, a payment is done. This all should happen within 9 seconds. If the payment is happening for more than 9 seconds, means either RBI side, that is NPCI side, between the application and database, there is a latency, okay, there is a network problem, or in your mobile, there could be an internet slowness, or in the merchant side, the merchant bank is having some network issue or a database issue or an application issue. Otherwise, it all should happen within 9 seconds, and that much storage, that much uh, um, core memory, everything is given on the NPCI side as well as from the both the side, merchant bank side and the beneficiary bank side. So this is a rule of an RBI, okay? And how generally we see is, if any UPI transaction goes beyond 9 seconds, we report that as this transaction response rate is very, very high. Even a single second, if it goes like more than 10 seconds, we say there is a latency. Okay, this transaction does not go through as per the standard protocol. Protocol in sense as per the standard SLA. So then they investigate why especially this transaction took more than 10 seconds. Is it a problem with the NPCI database side or network side, or it is a problem with the merchant database side? So we classify that. Okay, NPCI gives a confirmation. So from our end, there is no outage. Outage in the sense there is no internet issue or network issue or application database issue. Everything was normal. And then the beneficiary bank or the merchant banks checks, and they see like there could be some technical issue. There was outage going on their network side or something. So everything for all these APIs should happen within 9 seconds, and the customer to get a response within 9 seconds. So what they have to do is they need to have a HA, which is called high availability. That is the main reason every application server or database server or HTTP server, everything will have a one primary, one secondary, and one DR. That is a minimum which RBI has mandated. Anything that comes under as a banking or payments, you should have a primary, secondary, and a DR, which is called as HA. But sometimes in a bigger volume handling banks, they may have two primaries, two secondaries, and two DRs. So that anywhere, which is called a 6 node, okay, in anywhere in the 6 node, the transaction will capture and it will give a response, and then the transaction will happen without any latency. So RBI rules are very, very strict to the banks, whomever is handling the technology part for the banks, right? So this is the SLA that the bank has to maintain, or the technology team of the bank has to maintain. If that is not being maintained within 9 seconds for any UPI transaction, then the respective bank has to pay a penalty to the RBI. If RBI finds it is a problem with the bank network, then the crores and crores of penalty will be paid by the bank to RBI. So that is a mandatory stuff. This is on the payments and banking, because the business itself run with the money, right? So there is like, they cannot say like, we did not commit any mistake, because it is easy to navigate and come down to a conclusion that network error was with which bank or which side, because the HTTP responses itself will tell very clearly. If you get time, try to read on HTTP responses. So it will have like 4x's, 3x's, 1x's and all. Okay, so that is it. So coming back to the WhatsApp side, so here we as a user, then our request, the API calls go to WhatsApp API, which is a gateway for us. So WhatsApp can be handled similarly in two things, right? It can be handled in both application as well as in the HTTP that is on the website. You have desktop WhatsApp, and nowadays you have tab also. So the application that has to be hosted on mobile and tab is different compared to the desktop version. That is a website version. So all those APIs, then it hits the gateway. Then it, as I said, like it hits the Nginx. Nginx is a mandate reverse proxy that we will have in all the application or all the anything that is hosted in HTTPS that is on the website and applications. Then you have firewall. Filtering is done. The WAF is a Windows application firewall. Okay. Then then the API goes to the application server where the API logic is being done. Just give me 1 minute. And then it goes to the database server. Then it hits the database server where if you would have sent just a hi to your friend, that hi goes through all these API channels. Okay, it goes to the API gateway first and then goes to the Nginx. It hits the firewall, that is web server, and then it hits the application server, and then it hits the WhatsApp database server. And then a response comes back from database server to application server. This is called bidirectional. Actually, I did not put pointers here. Pointers will be like both the side, it will have arrow, which is called as bidirectional. Bidirectional means it takes a request and gives a response back. So that is called bidirectional. So you can see, so browsers, request from this browsers over internet, it comes here, then it hits the Nginx firewall. And if it is a valid request, then it goes to the respective load balancing server, LB, and then it goes to the respective application server, and then it goes to the database. Again, the response comes back from the database, go to the application server, and the Nginx, that is a load balancer server, then it hits the firewall, then it through the internet, it goes back to the user. User is like whoever using the browser. So that is how a data flow is done for any API, application programming interface. So whenever you face any kind of interview, right? So as an interviewer, the question what they will ask is, give me a simple logic how an application works. Okay, you can take WhatsApp itself as an example, or you can take even payments or banking application as an example, and you can tell very clearly API. First, you have to explain only about the API, application programming interface calling. Okay, that callings from user, it goes to the gateway. If it is like a application gateway, it goes to application gateway, or if it is a website gateway, it goes to HTTPS website gateway. And then it hits the Nginx server, which is a load balancer. So the request comes in from multiple channel that hits the Nginx server, and then from Nginx server, it hits the firewall, and from the website and application firewall, then it hits to the application server, then to the database. And then the database responds back to application server, then to firewall, then to Nginx, and then to WhatsApp gateway. Then you get the response back. This is the framework which you have to explain to the interviewer. Okay, this is what I have given in the other sheets also. I don't want to make it very complex for you, but this is a simple API workflow where you have to know where exactly the API callings are gone. And this is like this 2x's response is a success response. When a request hits the Nginx, when the database gives back a response to the application server, and the application server gives back the response to Nginx server, the response should be 200 or anything in 2x's, which means successful. Anything on 3x's, 4x's, 5x's will be failure. And 4x's and 5x's are like network level failures from client side or from the host side, something like that. So if you are handling an interview, something related, if the company is like more on application development, they wanted to know more architectural level, they are asking a lot of questions, at that time you can let me know, I can take you in detail about it. Okay. And the next one is about the high availability and the scalability, which I told. High availability is, as I said, if an institution is getting more API volumes, in that case, if single primary server, single secondary server is not possible to pick up all those volume, then they have to go for multiple primary server, multiple secondary server. It is called nodes. Okay. So in primary server, if you have 2 nodes or 3 nodes, even if one node is down, then it picks up the request from the second node or third node, and then it sends to the database. So if entire DC, which is called primary, secondary, and DR is down, only if multiple nodes in primary, secondary, and DR is down, then entire server will go down. So because the response should have less than 1,000, what is it, less than a second latency. So all these company invest huge money on the storage to improve their server performance. That is the main reason. And moreover, on server, you will have a lot of things like you need lot licenses, SSL, single sign-on license should be there, logic login should be there. And for firewall, you will have IP listing. IP whitelisting is something like there will be a rules applied in website application firewall. Like if in case you're working for banking or payment side, um, bank will say, I cannot allow this policy. I cannot allow the user to watch Facebook or internet in my premises. So in that cases, if you get into the corporate or anywhere, you will not be able to access external sites like Facebook or any other sites. Even Naukri will also be not available when you get into a corporate world. So they will do the blacklisting. So they will blacklist the website, and when during the patching and everything happens for an OS, they will do a whitelisting during that time. So then in application, of course, you need to have multiple user. So authentication need to be done. So you create an user and the password need to be authenticated every time when the user try to log into the application. So that validation happens. And once from application, a connectivity is established to the database, then the database should be in a private network. No databases will be hosted in a public network. Any payments or banking or anything that manages money, that will not be in a public network. So no public access for the database. It should be only private network. Or any, for example, small companies which is handling not money but only data, those will be in a public network. Those databases will be public network. Why database should not be in a public network is, database is the only place where you have all the data in it, right? So anybody can hack it, anybody can just take that data, anybody can misuse it. So that is the reason no database will be hosted in the public network. It should be mandatorily hosted only in the private network. And our national security stuff like our army, navy, all those details will be stored in database which is not even in private network. It is in different network called DMZ, demilitarized zone network. So we have 3 types of network, that is demilitarized zone, DMZ network, private network, and a public network. So this is just a general stuff. I'm not getting into so much detail into it. Okay. So what happens is, all these API is going on between Nginx, application server, database server, everything is going on. What monitoring team does it, right? So whether this API request is going into database properly, or whether the database is responding to these API properly or not, they will check on the Nginx logs. So Nginx is the single point of place where they will collect all the logs. They can take all the logs that has hit the Nginx server and all the logs that has responded to the Nginx server. The audit compliance team also will scan that. So randomly they will scan all the API to see if all the APIs has been responded properly, or any confidential information that is been sent via that API, whether that is being stored inside any tools. So those kind of monitoring is done. Database monitoring, automated backups. The database every day, end of the day, it is supposed to take an automated backups. So the storage, if the database storage is high, they have to increase it on the flow. They have to go for the cloud computing. So all those details will be done by the monitoring team. So that's on the monitoring and reliability. So the monitoring the health check of the server is done every day for the application server and the database server. And then it tells whether the status of the server, whether the utilization of CPU or utilization of memory or core is more than 70%. If it is beyond 70%, immediately a ticket will be raised internally within the technical team. They will raise a priority 1, priority 2 ticket, and they will immediately on the flow increase the memory and the core of the server, because it is a high performing server which need to be actioned immediately. So that's how an IT department works, when whoever is handling the data center or any database or servers. That's it on the WhatsApp side. UPI we have already seen. Okay, yeah. Any questions?
Ma'am, is this the same way for every application, ma'am, the architecture, not only the
Everything
payment, but
across globe, whatever you host, this is the logic.
okay, ma'am.
Everything. This is the way it has to work.
Mm.
No other new ways there.
Okay, ma'am.
Whether it is cloud computing, whether it is whatever it is, it has everything works in the same way.
Okay, ma'am.
Even if you host a server in UK or US and you're trying to access India's database on India's network, this is how the hosting should be done.
Okay, ma'am.
The workflow is this. The user from US trying to access some website that is hosted in India. India means it's not a physical server. It could be hosted in the
Mm.
cloud. Okay, so then through the API calling, first that hits the US server, then it hits the Nginx, it hits the respective application server, then the respective database server, and then the response comes back from the database server to the application server, then through the firewall Nginx, then to the user. And if it is a website API, then it is called HTTP request versus response. If it is an application API, it is called as application request. That's all. You have only two things, right? Console, as I said. Either it is the calling should come from website or from application. You don't have any other source to give a API calling.
Okay. Yes.
Clear? Yep. So you can relate with whatever the application you use. It could be a Google Workspace, it could be a WhatsApp or any other application that is hosted in your mobile or desktop. This is the logic. Whatever the application, when you try to open that application, it will authenticate you. The validation happens, and from there, a request goes to the Nginx, Nginx WAF, that is Windows Application Firewall, and then to the respective application database, then to the application server, and then to the database. Again, it's a bidirectional. It checks the database if the information is right, saved, and then response comes back to the database to application server, then to the WAF, then WAF to the Nginx server, then comes back to the gateway, whatever the gateway is, and then to the user. This is the data flow diagram, which is a high-level data flow diagram. In between, things will change for if it is for the card management, if it is for the NEFT, RTGS, the respective server will come in, which will connect with the database. Otherwise, it is the general API callings. Okay, so any doubt or anything you want me to explain little more clear? Guys, whatever I have taken is very basic, okay? As an interviewer, this is what they will expect you. You should know the logic, right? This is just logical only. This is not technical. If you tell the logic very clearly to them, they will not ask more technical questions to you, because technical things can be learned any point in time. Logic cannot be learned always. Dropped. Yeah. So you have got any questions for me or any clarity is needed?
Uh, Ma'am, can we practically see what are the tools needed for this API and all in the next session?
Could you be little louder? I
No,
couldn't hear you
I
well.
wanted to know what are the tools and how the architecture work
You-
in practical in the next session.
Tools. Okay, tools in sense like we'll see how server works. Okay, I can explain you. I have told application server,
Yes,
database
ma'am.
server, right? Database server is different.
Mm,
The way the OS installed in
mm,
it, and the storage and other stuff will be little bit different from the application
mm.
server. So probably I can teach you little more detailing on that.
Okay, ma'am.
Otherwise, general, if in case somebody asks you, do you know how an application works or how an HTTP works, a website works? This is how at the background it works for anywhere, for
Yes,
everywhere.
ma'am. Mm.
Okay, so if in case if they ask you particular question about, you tell me exactly, like for example, so but if they ask you, you tell me what is an application server, what kind of a OS has to be installed, whether it is a Windows or Linux or AIX or mainframe. So that variant I can probably take you through.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to have like, like subject knowledge so that whatever I say, right, you can relate it. Else, if I talk more about VMware and other stuff, you may not have idea what is VMware, how it is going to work and all.
Yes, ma'am.
Will be completely
Yeah.
off track for you. So, but yes, a little detailing I can give you if you're interested. Okay, then any other question? I know it is a little vague subject, but once you get into it, right, it is very interesting and you can logically connect everything. And then later you don't feel like anything technical, logical, and all. Everything will be like in your fingertips. Anything they say on the network side, you can able to easily connect with you, and it will be very easy. What I can also do is I can give you some industry standard practices and few scenario based industry questions. Like I have handled 85 plus banks in payment side as well in the banking side for India. So probably what are all the major issues that we have come across? We have paid some 7 crore penalty to NPCI. So those scenario-based question also I can walk you through if you wanted to know. You have to tell me what is your preference. Accordingly, I'll narrow down my subject. My strength is on the banking side because entire my journey except the first year I worked in Sutherland, that is a McAfee antivirus software, so I was a technical person over there. um, I know how McAfee works, like how it itself gives you a virus and it itself tries to eliminate that virus, and how they have monetized it. So those business and secrets I know about McAfee. And then I worked for Verizon Help Desk, which is an telecom provider. So then 1 year I worked over there. Later, all other 7 and 8 years experience is only on the banking and payment side. So my core and strength is on banking and payments. Any application on banking payments, database, I'm strong in that because I had handled the entire data center for almost 100 plus banks, which has supposed to be managed by RBI, that is NPCI. I had handled that. I was head of data center too, so my strength is on that side. I can help you with the monitoring tools. How we monitor, we use ELK, uh, which which is on Python. Elastic Log Stash Kibana. Okay, that is called as Kibana. Kibana is a dashboard which gives you the complete detailing on the server health check and application health check. And then it also says like where is the latency, what is the request versus response, everything. So that if in case you want to walk through, I can bring in one of my team member and I can ask them to give a walkthrough on that also, no issues. They will give you a real-time dashboard example.
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, what are the other things you're looking for? You have to let me know so that I can just go in depth on that side. Maybe Vignesh, if you wanted on the analytics side, right? Because the logic, what you learned today, you have to incorporate that. I'll walk you through on the monitoring stuff. On the monitoring side, you will have to apply a lot of logics on the data analytics. The real data analytics is done over there on the ELK. Just try to read more about ELK, Elastic Logs Dash Kibana. That is a trending monitoring tool which is used across everywhere. We had built that tool. So that's not only working for payments and banking channel, but it is being worked for many monitoring purpose too, many application monitoring purpose too. Very user friendly, freeware which is available in market. Only for the integration you will have to pay. So, but it's an excellent tool that I have worked with more than compared to Zabbix. Zabbix is more on the infrastructure monitoring. For application monitoring, ELK is the best freeware that is available in market.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Anything else, or it's too much for today?
Yes. It's a good one.
Okay, good. So practice on the tools, the digital marketing tools that we worked on it, because only if we practice, if we have hands-on experience, that stays in the mind, else all the training goes in the air. So please practice. And tomorrow, you want me to continue with the same application server, or you want me to work on digital? Maybe we will have
Yes, ma'am.
combination of both, because
Mm.
subjects are very weight. I practically we can concentrate only for max of 7 minutes. Then 3 minutes our mind goes somewhere. Then again back. We have to bring the mind back to this, and then again 7 minutes you can concentrate. Then again 3 minutes mind goes somewhere else. So that is the psychology of a person. We cannot concentrate the entire 90 minutes or 2 hours program. That is highly impossible. Right? So whatever is okay to take is what I will concentrate. I will not dump too much also. But if you in this, if you want any detailing, if you wanted to know more on Nginx or database or any, if you just ask me, just tell me in a layman how a server works, that I can detail you on that. I'll tell you what is OAS, how an input is done, how an output is given. So those all detailing I can teach you.
All right.
Okay, that we can do. Why a WAF is applied, why a Windows application firewall is applied. So all those things we can go in detail if required. If that is not your cup of tea, then there is no point in spending more time on that. That's too logical stuff. Yeah. See, not only now, even in future, after 2-3 years, if you get an opportunity where, like, there are a lot of got an opportunity to work on the server side or database side or a data center side, anytime you can reach me and ask doubt. I do not hesitate at all. The people, those who work with me, even before 10 years, 15 years, they call me and they ask doubt. I don't hesitate. So you can, anytime you can reach me. Yeah. All right. You have any questions, or we can wind up for the day?
Clear for now, ma'am.
Okay, great. Vignesh, how about you?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay, great. I'll share this recording. I think I forgot to share yesterday's recording too. I'll share both the recording today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Then have a great evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.